As you have been great so far throughout this kickoff, please identify yourselves and the agency that you are with. We'll spend about 15 minutes with Coach and then divide our time up amongst our 3 student athletes. Coach, your first question will come from the right side. Your first couple of questions right side, but the first one, second row, gentleman in the black shirt.
Hey, Coach. Scout Hughes with WBRF. Welcome to the ACC, and how excited are you and Stanford to be joining the conference?
We're thrilled to be here. Thank you. Unbelievable conference and some great traditions, great coaches, great area of the country, and we're excited about it. It's also good for us in terms of recruiting. A lot of our roster comes from this side of the country, so the opportunity to come out and play here 3 times a year on this coast, I think is going to continue to help us in recruiting.
Coach, we'll stay on the right-hand side, just behind him in the white shirt, third row.
Hey, Coach. TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. Coming with you guys into the ACC is also the California Bears. That rivalry between you two goes back decades. So how is it to maintain that rivalry going into a new conference?
I think it's really important. I think one of the things that makes college football great are the rivalries that have went on for a long time. So I think it's important that, with realignment, all these things that happen, I think the rivalries are something that's really important. We've got a great relationship and rivalry against Cal, just right there in the Bay Area. So we're excited that, we were able to come over together.
Coach, also on the right side, third row, just off the aisle.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. Coach, you got a ton of great young players on this roster. Some of them are here today. What does it mean to the culture of a program having those players stick around in a transfer portal and NIL era?
Yeah, really important. When we first arrived, we had lost 17 players. That all of them but one had graduated to the transfer portal. So we had a really young team, inexperienced team for the most part. And we are a much more experienced team this year, a much deeper team. In this day and age, just having your team stick around is a pretty big deal. So we try to treat our guys the right way, and we want them to be here for 4 years. And I think that's one of the appeals of Stanford is if you're smart enough to choose Stanford, I think you're smart enough to stay until you get your degree. So that's what I'm counting on, at least.
Coach, left side, about the fourth row, gentleman in the green shirt.
Cam Lemon, Stephen Deacon Digest, right? Cam Lemon, Stephen Deacon Digest, 24/7 Sports. I asked it about Coach Wilcox as well, but coming over to the ACC now, you're going to have to come West Coast to East Coast, and you actually have a little fun point where you go to Syracuse, and then the next week head out to Clemson. What does that schedule look like, especially when you have those back-to-back weeks of having to go to the West East? Are you staying out East Coast? Are you having to leave a day early? What's going on there?
Yeah, we will turn back so our students can go to class, and we have a pretty good plan. We're going to go out a day early. Then on a Saturday game we'll go out on Thursday, fly in the evening and hopefully get our players acclimated the next day, and then we pick up 3 hours flying back to the West Coast. So we've never done it before, back-to-back trips, but. There's harder things to do. Our guys do a great job of adjusting, and they'll balance, the two things of being a student and an athlete, and we'll make sure that we do great things in terms of larger plane when we travel and going out a day early.
Coach, left side, first row. We're walking the microphone down now.
Hi, Troy. Doug Parrish here, Football Organically. Want to talk a little bit about player performance. Who are some of the standout players on your team this season, and what sets them apart?
Well, these 3 guys right here, are 3 of the best, and not just. I'd say the things that sets them apart is their ability to stay focused, their consistency, and how they train, how they treat their teammates. How they lead this team. So one of the things that I love about being at Stanford is the quality of individuals, of our student athletes. I tell them often that they inspire me. They're really the very best that college sports has to offer. These guys are intellectually curious. They want to make the world a better place, and they want to be champions on the football field. So typically, in my experience, the better players are always the harder working guys, the mentally tough guys in terms of doing the same small things over and over again, and the willingness to sacrifice those times. And these three gentlemen to my left all do those things.
Coach, from the podium, as a follow-up to that, what does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Accomplished greatness? I would say, greatness is consistently doing the small things over and over again.
Thank you. Other questions for Coach from the room? Coach, we'll go back to the right-hand side, second row.
Hey, Coach. Scout Hughes with WBRF. Just interacting with the players in the breakout room, in addition to yourself, it just seems like that there's a culture at Stanford in which they hold themselves to a high regard because Stanford is such a prestigious university. And it just seems like that Stanford is doing the right things. Do you feel that way? And what are some examples of that? And how do you do that?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Yeah, I do feel that way. Our graduation rate for football players at Stanford is 97%. So when they come to Stanford, they're making a decision to take their future and present and academically seriously. Our guys go on to do great things, and they're competitive in all aspects. So I'm very proud to be the head coach at Stanford and be able to represent the young men that are the very best in collegiate sports, where they don't sacrifice being a great player for being a subpar student. They're all great students and all great people that do great things in the community, and then are fierce competitors on the field. So I admire them all.
Coach, from the podium, curious to know, you just completed your first season at Stanford. Now you get ready to embark upon another first season, that being inside the ACC. I ask it with a bit of a wink and a smile. How do you keep your wits about you with so much professional change that's occurring?
Yeah, well, just process and, like I said, doing the small things every day, really staying focused on those things. Where we're playing and who we're playing, all those things are kind of secondary to our process and our preparation and what we do day in and day out. And so that's how we live. Obviously you got to travel across the country a couple times, 3 times to be exact. Our guys will adapt. There's been harder things to overcome. And we're just excited, really grateful to be in this conference, to play against great teams. We get to travel to 3 great venues, Syracuse, Clemson, and North Carolina State. So we're very grateful.
Coach, to your left, third row, green shirt, mint shirt.
Yeah. Hi, Nick Roby, backyard catch. Well, first, again, welcome to the ACC, everyone. And just wanted to give you an opportunity, maybe if you've gotten to share or maybe haven't, just for everybody who maybe not as familiar with the program or with Stanford or knowing the name, and as they're coming more to the East Coast, as teams come to visit y'all, do you have any pillars of your coaching program or things that you are really passionate about that maybe you haven't gotten to speak on, or just anything you would want us, as we're covering you, to know? Yeah, I mean, the things that are important to our program, we call it the way of the cardinal, and it's love, mindful, gratitude, and competitive. So love is really the foundation of our program, and love in the sense of we enjoy playing football, we love each other, and we try to attract individuals, players that really love football more than they love recruiting and all the other things. They really enjoy playing because that's kind of how I'm built. I just love football, and I love being around it and coaching it, and I love playing it. And so we want to attract players that love the game, love each other, love competing, and then we want being mindful is just trying to enjoy what you're doing and being in the moment, which is hard in high-level sports because, it's so tied to winning and losing, but we try to be very cognizant of enjoying each other, enjoying the moments. Win, we move on. Lose, we move on. And then gratitude is something we talk a lot about. It's the most important factor in your own personal happiness is how grateful you are. And our guys are very grateful. They realize to be at a university like Stanford is an unbelievable opportunity and gift to be in the ACC, to be here with you all. It's an important part of who we are. We are not entitled to anything at Stanford. We feel very grateful to have it. And then competitive is the last kind of pillar for us. Is we compete like it's the most important thing in the world. But at the end of the day, win or lose, we move on. And we prepare like it's the most important thing, but we move on quickly. So those are the things that we build our program. And these guys represent those three things every day.
Coach, your last question here from the podium, following back up on continuity with your players. Your staff also has been held together for 2024. I would imagine in some of that comfort in planning, that is a relief for you.
Yeah, so we talk about in the program is continuity, culture, and development, right? So if you think about families are better off if they're the same people, right, that are there each day. And so very important that we create an environment our coaches enjoy it and they feel valued, and we have a great coaching staff. I want them to be there forever. And then same thing with the players. We want continuity with our players. One of the things that drew me to this job at Stanford is that I really feel like we are going to be really an outlier in terms of having a roster where it's pretty similar from year to year, that there's not going to be a lot of transition. That Stanford is a place, the destination place that you draw a type of student athlete to the campus, and then they're there for, hopefully the entire 4 years. And then, of course, culture I talked about with the way the Cardinal, and then development. We gotta, when you have players there for 3 or 4 years, you gotta make them better. And that's what I've done my whole life is develop players, whether it's high school or college or whatnot. And if you got a culture and you're able to keep those players and they're able to get better every single year as opposed to just taking other people's players, if you're able to develop them, make them better, then I think you have a real shot.
Coach, thank you. You can switch spots with Elic. We'll bring Elic
Thank you.
up
Appreciate it.
for a few minutes. Folks, once again, if you've already said hello to our folks at Stanford, please reintroduce yourselves with our student athletes. Who would like the first question for Elic? Elic is going to come left side. We'll go ahead once again and get the 2 questions there on the second row.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm Mary Denchemont from the Players Lounge, and in double OT against Colorado, you beat Troy Walters' record from 1999 for receiving yards. What new benchmark do you set for yourself this season to measure your success?
Yeah, I'm not really the type of person to set benchmarks in terms of yards or catches or touchdowns, but I think one thing that I want to do or be able to come away with this season is going into the film room every Sunday and thinking, like, I put my all out there every play. I think if I can go in every Sunday, even though, like, you can't be perfect on every play, one thing you can do is put your effort there every play, and I think that that's one thing I want to do.
Going to stay on that row, Elic, the young lady in the white suit.
I'm Katrina Sacken for Sports and Culture Media. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Being new to the ACC, you have a story that is really, really interesting that I feel like a bunch of people may not know. Canadian born for you, and you came and you had a journey and you had a goal for yourself. What's that journey been like, and can you go into further detail about your journey?
Yeah, of course. I'm originally from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, and I think growing up there, you see a lot of like media presence of United States of America football. Like you see those highlights on Instagram and YouTube, and I remember my kid self vividly thinking like I really want to compete with these dudes. I think I can do this for myself. And obviously at that point it was more of a dream. I didn't think like I would ever actually get that opportunity. But by way of good virtue and luck, I ended up getting the opportunity, and I moved to Massachusetts for high school. And I think just from there I learned what discipline and commitment meant to achieving your goals. And I just kept those types of ideals in my mind the whole time. And from there, I guess the rest has been history. And I think moving forward, I'll keep those same ideals in my mind.
Elic, from the podium, speaking of history, last year you posted 7th most receiving yards in the NCAA. From October 11th through the end of the season, what was it about the second half of the season that caught your eye that made sense compared to the first half of the season?
Yeah, I think I've been relatively inexperienced in the first half of the season and even the second half. This is my first year playing college football. As you may know, I tore my ACL my freshman year. And I think a lot of it is just not only building confidence within yourself, but also confidence like within the team and within the coaching staff. I think something like that can't be built in an instant. It's built through repetition and doing things over and over again the right way. And so I think just my own confidence in my ability to do stuff, and even furthermore, my coach's confidence in my ability to do stuff allowed more of the onus to be put on myself to make plays in games. And so when those opportunities came, I did my best to capture them.
Questions for Elic from the room? Elic, in reading your bio, it says that you enjoy reading. I know what that is. Driving. I know what that is. Adventuring. What is adventuring?
I don't know. I just I like to get I like to get out sometimes. I know this a couple weeks ago I went to Lake Tahoe and just kind of enjoyed myself. You know, I don't think you should take life too seriously all the time, and there's a time and a place. And so adventuring to me is kind of getting away from that everyday seriousness that you bring to life and really just enjoying being here and being, I guess, grateful and mindful and present in the moment.
Elic, thank you. You can switch spots with Ashton. We'll have about 5 minutes with Ashton, and same format applies. And Ashton, your first question will come first row, and we will hustle the microphone down to your left.
Hi, Ashton. Doug Parrish here with Football Organically. Hey, I played with your head coach at Cal, and he was a pretty darn good quarterback. How is it being coached by someone who has been in the college ranks and then proceeded on to the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing, you know. I probably spend the most time with him because, of course, he is our quarterback's coach as well. You know, so being with him and just learning from him, taking as many small nuggets as I can, you know, to kind of put in my data bank helps me as a quarterback. You know, he has all the experience, you know, obviously played in the league. You know, he's got great experience with his former quarterbacks as well. You know, and that's just something that helps me out. It allows me, you know, to be more comfortable, a lot more confident in my game, and it helps me out there on the field on Saturdays.
Ashton, from the podium, no doubt you've been walking around the floor here and realizing that the ACC touts the quarterback. Have you given much thought about the company you're getting ready to keep in this league?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the ACC has always been known for their quarterbacks. For example, Deshaun Watson is from Georgia. You know, I probably looked up to him the most as I was growing up, watching college football and all that kind of stuff. And I just know that, you know, it means the world to be an ACC quarterback. And I'm starting to accept and realize that that's now my role. And I'll forever be grateful for it.
Thank you. Left side, fourth row, all the way towards the wall.
Rob Johnson, Legacy Maker Sports. People have the misconception that the Pac-12 is soft. Well, knowing and watching the Pac-12 being up late on Saturday nights, I know it's not. Talk about how you guys can bring a certain physicality to the ACC that they may not think that the Pac-12 teams coming in can bring.
Yeah, physicality has always been, you know, a main staple of Stanford football. You know, we're taught that since the first day that we get here. And then on top of that, you know, our strength staff has done an outstanding job. Shout out to Coach Dietrich and the staff. You know, we come in every single day and we put in so much work. They believe in us, you know, they're making us stronger, they're making us faster. Everything we need to do to be out there to be able to go out there and just be as physical as we can. You know, that's always a big coaching point, is just be physical from the jump. Go out there, set the tone, which I know that we're extremely capable of doing, and I'm excited to see us do that this year.
Going to stay on the left side, second row.
Hi, Nick Roby, Backyard Catch. So it's been talked about a little bit with the changes with technology and how to be able to call signals, and just want to get your perspective as a quarterback. You're having to travel to different venues across the country, and what's that been like, maybe thinking about implementing that, and then how do you feel having to go into some different environments and then getting to host other people? I guess just what has that transition been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, they're the schools in the former Pac-12, you know, that had those crazy game day atmospheres. For example, Oregon, Washington, and, you know, being a freshman and a sophomore last year, I got to experience a lot of that. And, you know, I think being in those moments and in that atmosphere, you know, has allowed me to build confidence in myself. You know, it's hard sometimes when you go out there and you can't communicate as well as you can at practice, you know, but now we have the headsets and or the microphones and the helmets, you know, which will help us out a lot. Another example is Colorado last year. You know, you always have to tweak your communication a little bit based off, you know, the atmosphere that you're playing in, but it's nothing that you know, I think our guys can't handle.
Ashton, a follow-up to that from the podium. Last year against Washington, you had 448 total yards of offense, 367 throwing, 81 rushing. Is there anything such as a zone for real? And if so, were you in that zone last year?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you go out there and you put up big numbers and you have, guys that you can count on and that you're confident in, you trust in, I think you automatically kind of get into that zone. And then from there on out, it's whether you can maintain it for the rest of the game or not. But yeah, Washington is a great example. I think, we were moving the ball very well offensively. We just couldn't finish the game, but other than that, I mean, yeah, I trust my guys. I trust our coaches, our game plan, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's really what allows me to get into that zone before games.
Thank you, Ashton. Your last question will come right side, second row.
Hey, this is Scout Hughes from WBRF, from Georgia, but Stanford doesn't play Georgia Tech this year, but they do play Clemson, and that's pretty close too as well. But how excited are you to go to Memorial Stadium in Clemson and play take on the Tigers?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. It's going to be awesome. They're known to have one of the greatest college football atmospheres, so that's going to be a blast going to play in that. I'm obviously going to have a lot of family, old coaches that are going to make the trip up. So that'll be exciting. But I'm just excited that we have the opportunity to go and play such a prestigious team in such a prestigious atmosphere. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a great challenge for us this year.
Ashton, thank you. You can switch spots with Tristan.
Thank you, guys.
And we will spend 5 minutes with Tristan, then excuse the Cardinal to their next stop. Questions for Tristan? All right, Tristan, seeing none, I'm going to launch right out of the gates from the podium here. Your bio says you built your first computer in the 6th grade. Now, that suggests that you have built other computers since then. How many computers have you built, and why is computers your thing?
That's a great question. I think that technology is kind of like my thing outside of football. I studied computer science for my undergrad. I'm doing a master's in computer science as well. So I kind of just grew up always loving tinkering and playing with like little electronic boards like Arduino boards or Raspberry Pi boards. So I've done that computer was just like a gaming PC, but I've done some like custom little home server stuff as well. So a few, I would say.
So if anybody here has an issue, Tristan's your guy after the press conference. Question for Tristan, left side, second row.
Mary Dungemont with the Players Lounge. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
So you told Richard Sherman it was your dream to play at Stanford. Was it always your desire to follow in your father's footsteps? Yeah,
honestly, I think the first Stanford football game I went to was the big game, and I was 3 months old. I was born in July, so just like 3-4 months old, and I've been coming to Stanford games since then. My dad has season tickets. He played there, and he has a tailgate every game in Chuck Taylor Grove. So I literally grew up at the games, and that was it. That was the dream since I was a kid. I wanted to come to Stanford and play football, and following my father's footsteps is really special. It's like crazy that that was the dream that I manifested, and I'm just grateful that I had the people around me to encourage me and support me along the way. Family, friends, coaches. I'm just grateful to be here.
As a follow-up to that from the podium, your mother and your sister and both your aunts went to Cal. Do they speak to you at all?
They do. Yeah, it's tough because Cal is Cal, and we don't like those guys, but it's all fun and games. It's sweet that they've been at Cal, and I got to go to those games growing up as well. So having them and having that tradition in the household is really fun.
Other questions for Tristan from the room, right side, third row.
Hey, Tristan. TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. You talk about your father being a big influence in your career. I imagine y'all trained together when you said, hey, I want to be a football player just like you. And if so, what were those workouts like?
So it's actually interesting because my dad never really pushed me to play football. No one did. Obviously, I grew up going to the games, and Monday Night Football was on. We were at the dinner table with the TV watching Monday Night Football. So, football was just a part of our family. And that's kind of how my mom grew up as well. she said that, you know, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, they'd roll out the TV and put the game on. So no one ever really pushed me to play it. I think it was just a natural love of the game. And my dad never, you know, made me work out. He never honestly really trained me much. But he just always encouraged me and told me my whole life, like, hey, like one day, like, you're going to play this game and you're going to achieve your dreams. And that was really what he did. The biggest thing was just the encouragement that he gave me.
Tristan, left side, first row, microphone on the way.
Doug Parrish, Football Organically. Tristan, talk to me a little bit about your defense and hustling to the ball, having a desire to get to the ball, making plays. Talk to me a little bit about that aspect of the game.
Yeah, so I guess like the philosophy that Coach April talks about is playing red. And, you know, playing red for us is like playing right on that line, playing right on that edge. And, you know, it's about it's preparation, execution, competitiveness, physical, tough. Those are kind of all the traits that we talk about. The biggest thing I'd say is running to the ball is huge. You know, they hold us accountable and you know, hold us to loafs and get on guys at practice. And then the physicality, the toughness is like the other huge aspect. We want guys that are tough, that are physical. You know, sometimes we say GIUFS. Sometimes you gotta give it up for Stanford, you know, and make those physical plays where, you know, you gotta go in there and get your gap, get the C gap or whatever it is. So I'd say like the biggest thing, especially too in our room, is toughness. You know, it's STF. That's our motto. I'm not gonna say that one. That's for our room only, but it's important to us, and that's what we live by. So.
Tristan, we will leave it on that note. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, and folks, good luck.
Appreciate it.